Well, at present we can say that we are in a phase of partial control. I mean that we are very good at stopping an outbreak. We are fairly good at controlling the disease in the midterm, but we are not that good at controlling in the long term. And that's because we are facing the problem of the lateral introduction of new strains in the farm. That means that we are receiving lots of new viruses from other farms that are in the neighborhood of ours. For sure, the main problem now is what is called the regional control. I mean, it's needed to coordinate action between different farms just to stop this flow of lateral introductions in the farms. And I think that this is the future. This is the way that we will proceed in the next years. Well, it's quite complicated to manage an unlimited wish list. I would dare to say that we have 4 pillars for the control. That is the biosecurity, the immunity, the management of the flow in the farm, but also the diagnosis. So first of all, I would like to, if I was in the charge of a farm, I would like to categorize these 4 chapters in the farm, and then I will choose, of course, the measures that are directed to mainly stop the introduction or the spread of the virus within the farm. Well, I think that it's pretty important to set goals in the farm. And if we have an infected farm, the first goal obviously is to stabilize the farm. We have to achieve the cease of the flow of the virus from the sows to the piglets and the maternities, and then we can think of stopping the virus in the nurseries. So under this point of view, I think that the immunity of the sow is key. Well, the Americans would say that this is the $1 million question because no one really knows how to measure that. Obviously, in the laboratory, we're able to measure the neutralizing antibodies that correlate at some level with the protection, and we are able to measure the cell-mediated immunity. But actually, these are not tests that are available for the wide public. Certainly, the vaccination of the sows is the key, as I said before, and I think that we have to monitor how our sows are vaccinated and how we can keep the immunity in the sows. And the second point here is to monitor the birth of viremic piglets. I think that these are the 2 key points for assessing how our farms are going. So the hypothesis of that work was that by using an inactivated vaccine, we can induce some levels of protection comparable in the long run to the modified live vaccine. What we show in that paper was that certainly if we have a repeated administration of the inactivated vaccine, this goal can be reached. In practical terms, that means that when applying the vaccine to the sows that have previous immunity, we can have a very good transfer of maternally derived immunity to the piglets, and obviously that's good in terms of protection of the piglet. And secondly, this is a very safe strategy. So we think that these are the 2 pillars that are supporting this idea. Nowadays, we are pretty sure that for the initial immunization of the sow, we need a live vaccine. And this is because we need to start the immunity very soon after the contact with the virus, and to avoid that further introduction of the virus can cause reproductive problems. So the first point would be the immunity of the sow with this live vaccine. Then we have a different situation, that is the maintenance of the immunity in the sow. And this is mainly achieved by repeated vaccination every 3 or 4 months of the sow, and at this point we can decide whether we prefer a live vaccine or an inactivated vaccine. I think that this is a matter of the particular situation of the farm and of the balance between the safety, the interference with the diagnosis, because at some point the use of a live vaccine creates some diagnostic problems, and also a matter of the economic return of the strategy that we choose. Yes, if the farm has a problem of very high instability, I mean the virus is circulating all over the farm, I think that the only strategy that we have right now is the emergency vaccination with a live vaccine. Given said that, if you are facing a more advanced control phase, that is, we are trying to stabilize the farm, or even we have an unstable farm, we can introduce the inactivated vaccine as a recall dose for the sows. And I think that this is good because that permits the transfer of huge amounts of neutralizing antibody to the piglets. So more or less, I think that we have to plan in terms of what type of farm we have and what are our goals. Absolutely, you have to vaccinate if you are facing an outbreak. And the question here is that early diagnosis is really important for that. What I mean with that, I mean that if you can diagnose the outbreak very soon after the onset of the infection in the farm, emergency vaccination will stop predictably the outbreak. But if you take your time, you think a lot about the diagnosis, and the infection progresses in the herd, obviously the animals will finally be infected before the vaccination can have some benefit for you. So diagnose early, and if it's PRRS, vaccinate early.